Well, walk us through. Okay, so you do the sports bar. What's next? And I know you've acquired 5 businesses and looking for your sixth one. So walk us through some of those and what some of those look like.
Yeah, so the next one that I got while I still had the bar was a gym. So I bought this gym. I love the financials. It just made sense, and this was more up my alley. I love sports. I love to work out, and this was, I used to be a personal trainer in college, so this was more up my alley as opposed to the bar where I didn't know anything about the industry. But and I really liked it. It came with a manager, had a few employees, and it was in prime location. It was in beautiful downtown location, and so this was an excellent pickup for me and something that I was able to sell for multiples more down the road. So that was a great pickup. And then
Did you structure
simultaneously,
real quick? Did you structure that deal? Was that similar all cash, or did you a loan, or like this time around you just selling up? How'd you structure that?
yeah, so it's still cash, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I don't think, to be honest, I'm not really sure if I even knew what a seller note was. I think I kind of heard about it, especially through real estate. I knew what it was, but I just didn't know if that would be possible in the business world, or maybe it just got rejected and I went with an all cash offer. But yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't get any financing. But I will say that the way I was able to finance some of these, because I couldn't get a bank loan, I couldn't get the SBA, I couldn't get any of that. And I couldn't get the SBA because I was trying to close within 30 days. So from seeing the listing all the way to close, it was less than 30 days. And I was only able to do that because it was a cash deal.
Wow.
And I was able to finance it. And I'm using air quotes because it wasn't traditional financing. I took out personal loans. So by that, if you guys, if you know the balance transfers that you get in the mail from your credit card companies,
Yeah.
so they give you those checks and you can write yourself a big check. And so I had, for whatever reason, as soon as I got out of college, I increased my credit limit, thinking that was worth something, which it doesn't. I mean, it really doesn't do anything. So, but I had all this credit available, and so I went and said, you know what? Let me just actually use these things that are coming in the mail, and wrote myself all these cash equivalent checks with 0% notes till, for the next 12 months or whatever it was. So I used a little bit of that cash to finance it. And then I also borrowed, I went to companies like SoFi, Upstart, some of those P2P lending sites, and got personal loans out of those as well. So I did finance it in that form because at that point I just simply didn't have the cash. But I was pretty much paycheck to paycheck at that point, reinvesting every single penny I had, and I scraped together everything to eventually buy this gym. But it was
They're gonna
cash
make a
flowing
movie
well.
about you one day. That's
Yeah, it
awesome.
was.
Um, so you're scraping together the ability to do it. You're closing quick, so it probably means you can have a little bit lower multiple. So you have some
Mhm.
multiple arbitrage as you're doing these things. And listeners have got to be thinking, hey, this time around, usual, and you took out personal loans,
Right.
borrowed from SoFi, Upstart to actually do an all cash deal. So um, we're were your buddies or your parents or anybody you were telling thinking like, hey man, you're crazy, like this isn't going to work? You've also got a gym over here and a day job. Were people kind of telling you you're crazy? You were kind of like, hey, like this is what it takes, and I'm willing to go all in, and in the short term I'm going to make a bunch of sacrifices to get there.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't tell too many people, and I wanted to keep it under this one as well until it closed. It was all under the wraps, and it was super quick. It was less than a 30-day transaction. My family, my parents, they were supportive in that sense, but obviously thinking that I was still crazy. And once I told my friends, they just, I guess people just don't understand. I think I was 24 at the time, and so it's just, how are you doing this? Like, why? And you still got your day job. Like, how are you making this happen? And something's going to fall through, right? Like you can't just keep doing all these things. But for me, I think again, it was just the ignorance and just being so naive, thinking that it's gonna work. I mean, this is what I do, or this is what people do, I guess. So
Yeah.
and also it's a benefit that I just didn't have anybody to talk to in terms of a peer network the way I do now. where I talk to, people like yourself, many people that are doing similar things, whereas back then I just didn't have that peer network nor a mentorship or advisor, any of that. So it was just whatever Ujjwal thought is what he did. And, I only know what I know and I don't know what I don't know. So it was just kind of blindly going down the road that I was headed down.
This is amazing. It tells a lot about your personality and just like, hey, I'm going to get it done. Right. And I think
Right.
you have to have that to an extent of doing deals is very difficult. Buying a company is very difficult. Starting a company, anything when you're trying to be self-employed and create stuff and create a business, it's difficult. And so there is some level of like, I just don't know how to do B through D, but I'm just going to work on A and eventually I'm going to learn how to do that. Right. And you just kind of keep moving forward.